Hello everyone! In this week's video, I'm doing the one layer challenge. So let's get started. So what the one layer challenge is basically you try to draw a picture on the computer, but you're only allowed to use one layer. If you don't know what a layer is, it's basically like sheets of paper. Like if I do a drawing on a sheet of paper and then I draw on a different sheet of paper, what I draw on that second sheet of paper isn't going to affect what I draw on that first sheet of paper. So that's kind of what layers are. It makes it easy to fix mistakes and stuff like that. So they're very nice, very handy. So it's very hard when you only get to use one of them. And you might notice on my other canvas I have a few different layers. On my one canvas with the rough sketch, I was planning to just have that be my rough sketch and kind of use it as a reference, and then I was going to do a cleaner sketch on a different canvas. But then I liked the rough sketch more than the cleaned up one, and I kept trying to redo the rough one, but I just didn't like it and I liked how this rough one looked. So I just deleted all the other layers and I just worked with this rough sketch. So I wasn't trying to cheat or anything, I was just didn't plan to use this rough sketch, but I ended up using it. So I'm drawing Zelda from Breath of the Wild. I love Zelda in Breath of the Wild. She has so much personality and I really love her character. She's really cute and like sassy and she's very fiery and I just really like her in Breath of the Wild. I am drawing her holding a flower. In the game they are called Silent Princess, or Silent Princesses I guess. And they're very kind of symbolic of Zelda, so I'm having her holding one. I'm drawing her in her like adventuring outfit when she's out like doing her research and stuff. So I drew her in that outfit. I love her regal outfit. I was thinking of drawing her in her like her regal royal outfit when she has like the little tiara, but I decided on her adventuring outfit. Here with the hands, I often make multiple hand layers. So what I did is I just moved the hands to the side because I was trying to decide what pose I wanted her hand to be in, and then I finally decided on one the third time that I tried. So yeah, I was mostly just trying to find ways to work around not having layers, and man was this challenge a challenge. I was excited to be done working on this picture. I was getting really annoyed with it towards the end. I'm gonna say I was excited to be done working on this picture because I am the kind of artist that uses like 50 to 80 layers when working on a drawing. So I use a lot of layers when I work on my pictures. If I'm just the slightest like worried about something, I'll just make a new layer, and I didn't really notice just how dependent I am on layers. Like I knew I used a lot of layers, but I didn't realize how dependent on them I was. I'll talk a little bit more about that. For my sketch, I decided I kind of had my rough sketch, and then to help me clean it up, I would go around the sketch and I would darken the lines I kind of wanted to keep. Here I'm changing my line art to brown because I thought that'd help it blend in better with the coloring. And then while I was coloring, I was also cleaning up my sketch. So I kept my sketch really rough kind of on purpose because I felt like that would make it easier to fill in the colors later. And I knew I would be cleaning up my line art with the coloring. So I kind of just kept my sketch really rough and messy because I knew I'd be cleaning it up with the coloring. So yeah, that's what I did for that. Filling in the colors took a very long time because like if I did, it wouldn't have taken so long if I had done nice line art, but since I did do the rough sketch, I was also cleaning up my line art while I was coloring things in, so I couldn't just use like the paint bucket or like the fill tool. I had to actually kind of fill it in by hand for a lot of things. I actually found this part kind of relaxing. Like it did take a really long time, but it was just kind of like coloring in a coloring book kind of, and it didn't take too much thought. So it was actually kind of relaxing working on this part. I just turned on the Breath of the Wild soundtrack and listened to that as I drew this. So a little update, I am doing Inktober, so that's exciting. I'm trying my best to stick with it. I am currently, as I'm recording this, on day 5, and I'm going strong. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I always enjoy Inktober, and I do plan to make an Inktober video showing all of my Inktober drawings like I did last year. If you do want to see my Inktober drawings as I do them, I am posting them on Instagram. I'm sorry I'm not posting them on my other social medias. It's hard to take the time to post on all of my social medias every day. So I'm just trying to be good and just post them on Instagram every day. So if you want to see my Inktober drawings, they are on Instagram. So yeah, I had a lot of fun adding the gold detail to her outfit. I loved adding the gold detail, especially on her belt. I was pretty proud of how the detail turned out on her belt. The background I basically did, I used the lasso selection tool and I selected around Zelda so that I wouldn't draw on her. My favorite part of how this turned out is the grass. So first I colored the sky, because at first I drew the grass, then the sky, and then that didn't work. So then I drew the sky and then the grass, and then that worked. What I did is I used the hatching brush, and it's just like a bunch of random like hatching lines. And then I just put down a whole bunch of different shades of green. I did some lighter greens, some darker greens, and then I used Gaussian blur. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's like Gaussian blur. I don't know how to say it, but I used that on the grass and then it made it kind of blurry, but still kind of had a grass texture to it, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Now for the sketching and filling in the colors, I wasn't getting that annoyed with the one layer challenge. I was actually kind of having fun with it, but when I started adding shading is when I kind of started getting annoyed with it, because coloring is when I really rely on layers, and I didn't really notice I relied on layers so much for coloring. So when I color, I often color things kind of dark, and then I'll just lower the layer opacity to lighten up the colors or the shadows that I put down. So all the colors I kept using kept being like too dark or too light, or the brushes weren't working like they usually work because they're interacting with the colors, or it was almost like using something for the first time and you just don't know how to use it. It was like that. It's like I didn't know what I was doing, and I am happy with how the end result looks in the end, but I was getting really frustrated at this. It was really hard for me, and because I do rely on layers so much, so this actually was a really good challenge for me. Especially when it comes to coloring. And another hard part is that I wasn't allowed to use correction layers. So correction layers, basically you can do things like, if I wanted her hair to be pink, I would just have to get the hue adjuster and I could make her hair pink if I wanted to. I could change the colors, change the contrast, change how bright and dark things are, and I couldn't do any of that because correction layers count as layers. So I was just like, I really, really, really want to just slightly adjust her hair color, or I just want to slightly adjust the blue of her shirt, and I couldn't do it, and I'm just like, I want to do it. So it was really frustrating. In the end, I did kind of adjust the picture. So instead of using layers in Clip Studio, I opened up my picture in Windows Photo Gallery, and that allowed me to adjust the picture a little bit without using layers. I don't know if that's cheating. I'm not going to say it's cheating because I did not use any other layers. But I was able to kind of adjust the picture a little bit. And also it might look very different at the end because, like I've mentioned, my screen recording program changes how the picture looks for some reason, like the coloring. I don't know why it does that. I did add a lot of detail into her shirt. I'm pretty happy with how the detail looked. I didn't add the detail into the top of her shirt. I kind of forgot about it, and there was a lot going on at the top of her shirt. We have the hair strands and the gold detail and then the flower. So I kind of felt like the top of her shirt didn't need any more detail. So I just added the puffy seam detail to the bottom of her shirt. So that's what I decided to do for that. So what do I think of the one layer challenge? I think it is very challenging if you use a lot of layers like me. There are some artists that usually only use like 5 layers or 3 layers. I am not one of those artists, so this challenge was very challenging for me, and I do kind of feel like I learned a lot. Will I be doing this challenge again? I do not know. Will I add this to how I usually draw pictures? I don't think I will, but this was definitely a challenge, and I am actually pretty happy with how the picture turned out. I think it turned out nicely, and I don't think it was a fail, so that's good. So yeah, the one layer challenge is definitely challenging. Oh, can I just say, I love how the gold detail looks on her outfit. It looks really shiny. I'm also quite happy with how the flower turned out. It doesn't look exactly like it, but I feel like it looks close enough, and I like how it looks. So here, I kept thinking something looked kinda off about her face for a while, but I couldn't put my finger on it, and then I'm like, oh, it's her eyebrows, they're too high up. I finally noticed that. I'm like, yep, that's what was weird about her face. So I lowered her eyebrows, and that fixed the problem. Oh, I also added her little blue clips. I almost forgot them, and I'm like, oh no, her blue clips, I almost forgot. So here is the finished picture from the one layer challenge. This challenge was definitely a challenge for me, and I do feel like I really pushed myself with this picture, but I am happy with how it turned out, and I'm happy I got to draw Zelda. A lot of people were requesting I draw Zelda after I did my Chibi Link drawing, and I'm really happy I got to draw her. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next week in my next video. Bye!